Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm going to continue to admit everyone to this webinar. I'm so glad to have you this evening. Today, we are going to be doing the How to Bring in More Clients with Social Media webinar. Now, this is something that I know has been an interesting challenge as I've grown my business. Man, it has been an adventure learning how to utilize social media and not common knowledge, but I am not a huge social media fan. Did not always love social media. I joked with someone today and I said, I genuinely think if I didn't have a business, I probably wouldn't have social media at all. So if that is you, you're in the right boat. If you are here for the social media and you love it, we are also here to support you. And I am just honored to be here tonight to help you bring in more amazing humans to help with social media. So, if you are a passionate entrepreneur and you're ready to make some sweeping change, that's a lot of times the people who I attract with six figure systems. If you're like, I really want to make a lot of impact and help a lot of people with this business, this is the perfect place for you to be this evening. I'm so glad to have you here. And if you are just really eager and you're like, okay, I know I can utilize this business to help other people, and you're ready to be a little bit more efficient with your time, use one of the things that I say is like my catch line is like make more impact and income in less time. So if that is you and you're eager to get going, this is literally like the perfect webinar for you. And it was a bit of a lengthy title, but I figured it was like at least appropriate. It was like writing it out and I'm like, how to bring in more clients with social media. It's a long one, a bit of a mouthful, but I know that you guys are here because you're eager and excited, and I am excited to help you. So, this is definitely for you, and you're in the right place this evening. If you want the time that you spend marketing to convert faster, we're going to talk about like what does it mean to convert? What does conversion actually even mean if you are new to the business space? I've got a whole page of definitions for you. But if you want to bring in more clients faster, and if you want to spend less energy on your marketing so you can actually help your current clients and spend more of your time there, that's what this webinar is all about. So I have this quote here, which is, I think, funny, but it's like creating marketing that works should not be rocket science. Alan Garnett said that. And I'm like, yeah, it does feel like rocket science though sometimes. I feel like when we're in our businesses, we're trying to figure out the magic thing that makes things work. We know that social media is a great marketing tool. My goodness, at least we have free marketing now. I can't even imagine starting my business like 50 years ago, like taking out an ad in the paper. I'm like, I don't even know how I would have really gotten started and things like that. So within this webinar, we're going to be talking about like ways to utilize free marketing with social media. So within this webinar, one of the things that I see are really big common mistakes that people make within utilizing social media is that people think that they are missing something. So a lot of times you think because you don't maybe have the audience size that you want, and if you don't maybe have the income that you're bringing in that you would like, a lot of times we have people constantly questioning and really thinking about what they're doing is wrong. So I will have many, many clients that will get thinking about what's wrong with their copy, which is just the words underneath your writing, getting coaching to make your marketing stronger, and or asking for lots of feedback, which are all great things in like what does it mean, like when you're in sparingly asking for improvements with your copy, getting coaching on your copy, asking for feedback, all great things. It's just I've seen that that's the majority of where people's time goes is to be getting coached, trying to figure out what their, like we'll talk about like your ideal client is, but getting a lot of time that's just not utilized as well as possible. And I think I've found that a lot of people are spending a lot of time on your marketing. So you're seeing all this energy go out into it. I remember it would sometimes take me like 6 hours to write a post, which sounds crazy, but that was what was going on at the beginning. And I was not seeing people come in to coach with me. We'll talk about like my past and things like that as this webinar goes on. But man, it was frustrating at the beginning. And what I found is that my time could have been spent doing other really important things in my business, and marketing was taking up all my time. So tonight, I'm going to give us some ground rules and some just common definitions. If I'm saying things that sound like Pig Latin, please, that are not on this page, please like put it in the chat and I'll like define terms for you. Because when I first started my business, I was an elementary school teacher. I did not know any of these terms. So I'm going to define them for you in case you are in the same boat I was. So within your marketing, I'm going to define marketing as the ways that you're talking to people about your business and just getting your name out there. Another term I could have defined is your audience. Your audience is anyone that is listening to you as you are doing your marketing. So your audience could be followers that you have. Your audience could, oh, thumbs up for that, friends that you have on social media. You could also have people that are having connections with you if you utilize a social media platform called LinkedIn. You also might have people in your audience that are on your email list. You might have people in your audience that are viewing your website. Tonight, obviously, we're discussing just social media. So we're going to talk about how many people are in your audience right now and how can you utilize the people that are in your audience and market to them well so that you don't have to take as much time for your marketing. Another word that I mentioned that I was going to define is the word conversion. So for the sake of this webinar, conversion just means how many people have decided to work with you, either free or paid, from the things that you have done, from the actions that you've taken within your business. So we're going to take a look at almost, it's going to be like the output and then how many people you're getting in. And we're going to see how many people you are actually converting from the actions that you are taking. The next thing that we're going to be talking about is the word copy. I mentioned it like 4 times in the last couple of minutes. But if you don't know what copy is, it's just the words that you're saying and the messaging that you're getting out there about your business. So if you look under every post that somebody does, this could also actually be applicable to any email you write. That is what's nicknamed copy in the marketing terms. So I might be utilizing that throughout this evening. And there's also reach. So reach is expanding your current audience. So your current audience is at a wonderful size right now. Even if you have my amazing VA has 17 followers right now. I am number 17 for her lovely Instagram. But she already has an amazing audience. She just made it very recently of 17 humans. And we want to expand her what's called reach. So that means we want to build out her audience of more people, as do you. So as you grow, you want to expand your reach. You want to bring in more people. And that is what is important to know. So my goal is that after this presentation, after this evening, you're going to prevent some of those common mistakes that I mentioned and learn what you need to do to avoid those marketing mistakes. You're also going to know how to be really efficient with your time. I know that many of you are like I was when I started my business and might be part-time pursuers, and you might be not having a full-time career and also having this business in smaller hours. We're going to talk about how to use every hour that you have for your business to its fullest and make sure you know exactly what kind of marketing converts clients quickly and where you could be spending your time. And if you need any help at the end of this, I have time this evening. I'm watching the Carolina Hurricanes game, but I would love to hang on and stay with you guys. So any questions you have, if you're like, okay, Megs, this sounds great. Can you help me customize this for my calendar? Can you help walk me through things? I can stay on as long as we need for Q&A. And last but not least is I want you to feel purposeful. I want you to be like every single action that you take, whether it is writing a post or doing what we're going to talk about, like outreach, things like that to expand your reach and things like that. I want every minute that you're spending on your business to feel like, okay, there's a purpose to this. I know that this is going to be helping my business in some way and it's going to work. So this evening, we're going to talk about some common misconceptions. I've already mentioned some of them and where we could improve your marketing in the future. We're also going to talk about solutions to, again, bring in more clients. I was going to call this like convert more clients, but I figured I should define that for you guys first. A very easy term is like bring in more people from your marketing. So we're going to bring in more people. We're going to talk about how you can make that a solution. And then I actually want you to think about how you can apply this to your schedule. So I want you to actually be like thinking about as we do this, I want you tomorrow morning when you wake up, I want you to have real life application of something that you can do to move the needle forward for your business. And of course, I'm going to give a little explanation of Six Figure Systems. I am doing a special, there's something special that's happening this evening, and I'm only telling you guys about it because I don't want to open this up for everyone in my audience to do this. But for anyone who is here tonight, there's something exciting for you about Six Figure Systems that I want to let you know about. So, like I've mentioned a little bit, I am Megan Wing. If you don't already know me, hello. So good to have you here. And one of the reasons why I created Six Figure Systems is I want your business to feel easier than my business did. I've learned a lot in the past 3.5, 4 years that I would love for you to avoid because I made all the mistakes I possibly could, and I would love to prevent them for you. So that is a little bit about me. I'll be sharing a little bit more about my story as we go and all of the things that I did wrong in order to make it go right. So, with that being said, what are the main problems that I see? The first thing is time. I have found that the time utilized when we are quote unquote marketing is putting a lot of effort and energy into posts, putting a lot of effort and energy into email lists, and my favorite, checking your numbers on social media, views, likes, comments. And one of the interesting things I've found about this is it seems really productive. It's like when we are putting time into our copy and particularly checking our numbers on social media, it feels like we're moving the needle forward because we're at least looking at something that is there. However, there's a term that has been used, and this is not my term, but it's been used before, and I think it's interesting, is that the numbers for the views, likes, and comments are actually not the numbers I want you to be tracking. The nickname for those numbers are vanity metrics, which is like kind of harsh, but it's like that's what the nickname is in the industry, is that the number of views, the number of likes, and the number of comments are actually not a great use of your time when you have social media. For instance, I typically, now recently I announced the engagement. There have been lots of likes, lots of comments, lots of things like that. However, if you look back just a couple of weeks ago, I have posts that have 0 likes. 0, not one. And I've made multiple six figures in my business. And here we are, no likes, no comments. And the only comment that is typically, if you look and you can like scroll over and you can see, there's usually one comment and it's me. And I'm posting the hashtags that go with my post. It's no one actually is actually saying anything. So I want you to know that you can make a lot of money. You can help a lot of humans and have 0 likes. It really isn't a great indicator of where your business is at. And we'll talk about like what is a way better indicator. The other thing that's really important is spending hours on content. In 2022 alone, I posted 900 times, 900 plus times. It's a lot of effort. And I like, if we just think about like just an hour per post, which I definitely was doing way more than an hour per post, what we found is that I was spending a lot of time on the gram, not doing what really works. I was just spending a lot of time writing posts. I was learning about hooks. I was like, oh, we're going to make this great. And it wasn't really effective. We do want to take time and energy. We just want to allot it differently. So when I was doing this within my business, fun story, when I first started my business, it was actually in 2020. I started it in the fall of 2020. And I posted about it on social media and I got a bunch of people, thumbs up to that, who I'm sorry, like I've got like these little emojis and I have ADHD. So my brain's like, haha, that's fun. Let's point this out every time. I'm going to like restrain myself. But within my business, I found I was spending a lot of time on the posting and things like that. And I posted once and I got a lot of people from word of mouth, a lot of people who I'd known from my past. And I actually started and I signed 5 or 6, I think it was 6 clients right at the beginning of my business. And then from October to April, I had 0 consults. I'm not saying 0 clients signed up. I'm saying I had 7 months and no one even booked a call, like of nothing. And I was trying to go full time in June. And I'm like, oh no, this is slightly problematic. And I was spending all this time and energy in these 2 places. So I literally, when I was in my business, there would be times when I would post like 7 times a week, nothing. Multiple times a day, nothing. And then I would go into the post and ghost cycle. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but it's super fun where you post a bunch and you won't get anything, nothing happens, and then you're like, this is the worst. And so then you stop posting and then you're like, I gotta quit my business. And then you like start again. I'm joking about the quitting a business part. They definitely happen, but I mean, I just want to say that I can relate if that is a place that you're in, because man, I was like the mayor of that town. So when we're thinking about managing your business, what do you do when you have 7 months of no consults? What do you do to mitigate that? What I did is what I would not recommend for anybody is I added a bunch more things to my business. I was like, well, if the posting isn't working, let's just add a bunch of stuff. So I added a group coaching program just for fun. I called it March Mindset Madness. Who knows what that is? There's no clear result, but people did actually sign up for it. I just did like a month of group coaching. I actually, fun fact, you guys, I started a new podcast today. So there's actually the Six Figure Systems podcast. It launched at 8 a.m. But I did at the time start another podcast. I was in life coaching certification at the time. And me and a guy that were in certification, we were like, hey, let's start a podcast. This is great. Let's do that. I started a blog. I started thinking and researching into hashtags really hard. I started thinking about freebies. I was like, yeah, we just need more freebies. I need a funnel, all these things. And I'll explain what a funnel is. But I was like, it was just big words that I was hearing. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do a YouTube channel, all these things that I was thinking about. And this is just a misconception. It was what I saw people doing at a different higher level. But for me, adding all those things to my business was really diluting the time, the limited, very limited time that I had within my business to actually get things done. So again, I ended up spreading my focus to try and also post on multiple platforms. I was like, let's just do it all. I was like, if it's not working, let's just do more of it. So I was like, Instagram, Facebook, reposting to the Facebook group. I did TikTok, LinkedIn, blog. It was way too much. And of course, I was getting frustrated and burnt out. So again, this was back in 2022. I forgot to edit that. I was like, took 3 weeks off in June of 2022, but I did the post and go cycle. I'd be like, all right, let me just post a whole bunch. And then I was like, this isn't working. And I would stop. This is a really big issue we're going to talk about because consistency is key when you are really trying to scale your business and just grow your business and bring people in. The other thing that happened is my focus was misplaced. Even though, like I mentioned, we do want to be tracking numbers, your views, likes, followers, and comments are not a great indicator. Those are not numbers we want to be tracking within your business, mostly because it's out of your control. We really can't control how many people are going to like, view, follow, comment, unless we get really, really great at copywriting, which we are going to work on, but it's not the place where I want you guys to put the most focus. The next thing is getting all that feedback. Having multiple people read your marketing is not something that's effective. I had lovely humans that would read my marketing and they would give me feedback and I would spend hours on it. And even people who were not in my target market. I was told to make my posts look more professional, nicer. If you couldn't tell, I'm a pretty casual human being. And I felt like I needed to become like super stiff and professional, quote unquote. And that also wasn't helpful. But it was from somebody who wasn't in my target market. And so you can't win them all, but we live and we learn. The other thing was spending an exorbitant amount of time on research. The algorithm, my friends, is constantly changing. There's going to be trends. There's going to be different fun things to do. And it's not that I wouldn't recommend like being aware about new things that the different social media platforms are adding. Like when I first started my business, Reels didn't exist. They just started. So as soon as Reels started, I was like, that's probably something that's going to get more views. So you want to be checking on the latest algorithm updates, but not obsessing about it. The next thing is technology. When I was in my business, I've heard about people. Now, I didn't pay for anything because I'm, again, was running the cheap and cheerful route of a business. So, like paying for things like Canva, later, big editing software, that is something that isn't really needed to bring in more clients with social media at the beginning of your business. And also outsourcing. I now do have a social media manager. Tess is the bee's knees. She's wonderful. But at the beginning of your business, you can, and I think it's amazing, but bringing in more humans doesn't bring in more clients always. You want to make sure that if you do consider hiring people or hire people, that you actually get a return on your investment, which just means that the effort and energy and income that you are spending on your hires is actually bringing in people. Because I've heard people paying people like $60 an hour, which is really wonderful, but then they didn't get any clients from that. And so it's like, okay, is this where we should be spending our time? We want to make sure that we are aware of that. So this is the biggest marketing warning I have. And also it's funny, that was actually my grandmother's ring. It's an aquamarine, but it kind of looks like an engagement ring. That is not my ring. Just as I was like, nope, that's not it. But it's fun. But within your marketing, we want to be aware of their multiple types. I didn't know this when I started my business, that there are actually two different types of marketing. There is outbound marketing, and then there is interactive marketing. It is fascinating because I will not usually talk about trends, but a big trend that's happening in 2024 is that most marketing and even huge corporations are leaning towards interactive marketing. So let me explain both types of marketing for you. Outbound marketing is nicknamed billboard marketing. Billboard marketing is something that takes a long time to convert. Its purpose is to spread your message, not necessarily make money. AKA social media posting, blogs, podcasts, websites, email lists. That is outbound marketing. This is where I spent 100% of my time for my business, particularly in those 7 months that I didn't get any consults. I was focusing all on let's post, let's post, let's post. So people knew what I did. People were like, oh, yeah, she's really nice. We really enjoy her message. But no one was buying because that wasn't the purpose of that type of marketing. When we're thinking about the conversion time, that's also really important. So, 2 stats for you that I want you to keep in mind. It takes on average 17 times for people to see one offer in order for them to buy. So they need to see your posts over and over and over and over again before they actually buy. The second statistic I want you to keep in mind is there's a theme called the rule of 90. That rule of 90 means it takes on average 90 days, aka 3 months of consistency, consistent actions in order to create a desired outcome. So I want you to imagine if you are doing the posting, stopping, posting, posting, stopping, posting, posting, stopping, posting, what happens is you don't have the consistency. So people won't actually be able to you won't even get the return of that 90 days. It just takes that consistent action. And this is the long game. We want to continue to do this. Even though the purpose is not to make money directly, I also don't want you to just stop posting and throw the baby out with the bathwater. Don't love that phrase, but you know what I mean. It's like we don't want just to throw away marketing. We just want to be really mindful that we are just getting a message out there, we're getting some information out there, and we are being consistent because that's a long game. However, if you want to play the shorter game, if you want to focus on what's really, I would say, the shorter game, again, we're going to bring people in this way because they're going to see it, they're going to think of you. And if you think about a billboard, somebody's driving by and they see, oh, it's like, I remember that. I'm trying to like think of Shonda. It's like Shonda loves, she does yoga therapy. And I know that she does this for high performing professionals. So what would happen is people drive by her billboard over and over again. They're like, wait, I just heard a friend of mine talking about yoga therapy. They totally need Shonda. That's how this marketing brings in clients. You become the top of mind expert in your field so that people think of you and will become referrals. They're going to start thinking of you. And if they ever are in need of your service, they will reach out. However, if we want to play the shorter game, if we want to play a way that I've seen convert extremely quickly, aka bring in clients from social media very quickly, is the interactive style of marketing. People want to work with who they know, like, and trust. They call it the know, like, and trust factor. And so when you're planning out your marketing, you need to actually talk to people. You need to talk to the humans online. What is fascinating is now with the evolution of technology, which is great, we have AI that is artificial intelligence, and there's more opportunities for your work to get, your work might not get taken, but it's very easy for many people to just like have something posting for them without them being present at all. The algorithm in all forms of social media, whether it's Instagram or LinkedIn or anything like that, really doesn't love it when people are just posting without interacting with their people. So, what happens is if you don't interact with your people, the Instagram algorithm or any social media algorithm thinks that you're a robot. So the other awful thing is you're spending all this time on this billboard marketing, and the algorithm will actively not show your post to people because it doesn't think you're real. Super fun, right? I was like, well, I wish I had known that when I spent 900 hours on social media postings, but we live, we learn, and we grow. So within your business, you want to actually talk to people online. I want you, and by the way, even if you're talking to people, they still only see 13% of what you post. So you really want to make sure you're talking to them as much as possible. You'll see if I interact with each, if you message me, if you've talked to me, my post probably float to the top. My story, my little bubble, if you're on Instagram, probably comes to you pretty frequently. And that's because we've interacted with each other. You see more of what I post when that happens. It's more effective to help your people. So, with that being said, when we are thinking about the interactive marketing, that is where I want you to spend a lot of the time. And I found that 95% of people convert from here. It takes people on average 7 hours of communication to get to know you and actually like you and trust you in order to buy. It's a lot of time, but it can be condensed if they actually get to know you on a one-on-one level. And they're like, oh my gosh, I really love Marla. She is like so awesome. Anytime I have a dog that needs to be like portraited, it's like, I'm totally gonna call her. Like, this is great. You know what I mean? And so it's like we get to know people and they're like, oh, I get to, it's like, it feels a lot more personable. And that's how word of mouth marketing works. So I called this networking, and this is my data from 2022. I had a lovely big weekend this weekend. So I did not update these stats for 2023 like I intended, but for 2022, these were my stats. And I only spent 40 hours networking with people. That's it. I would just, and by networking, what I meant by that is I would do the interactive style of marketing. I nickname it managing leads because the goal of that is to talk to people online. And we have two purposes with managing leads. We want to bring in more people or generate more leads. And then you also want to nurture or just talk to your current audience. And I did that like not at all. Like I rarely did that. Not even an hour a week. It was just kind of like whenever I felt like it, I would be like, oh yeah, I should probably talk to the people who are following me. And I got 25 consults from people who I knew in my network, who I was talking to, 19 clients, 76%. And remember that word conversion, it just means how many people converted. 76% conversion rate, extremely high. From Instagram, I spent like 900 hours writing all these posts, way more than that, probably. I only generated 7 consults from that. Only 4 converted, and I had a 57% conversion rate. Dude, the math was not mathing. The way that I was spending my time was exorbitant in the Instagram department. And I could have been spending that time. I would recommend spending at least equal time for both. I also included here, just so you guys could know where I got 36 from. If you were like, wait a second, this math isn't mathing. I also did webinars like this. And I found that, like, again, more people got to know me. It has nothing to do with social media unless you're marketing it. But I just wanted to show you that I did have a high conversion rate from that back in the day. So from that, my conversion rate was 73% based on my conversions. Now, the average conversion rate is 8 to 15%. If you're not converting many people from consultations or sales calls or things like that, depending on how you sign your clients, please do not be worried. I just have a very high conversion rate because I've got a very specific process for mine. So I've got a system that I use that makes it really high. But I want you to know that your business doesn't have to be that complicated. You don't have to do 900 posts to make $100,000. I would like for it to be a little bit easier for you. And that's why I want to explain to you guys that the solution I would offer is taking time on your calendar for both outbound and interactive marketing. I want you to spend your time utilizing the posting, the billboard marketing, and actually talking to humans. But I would, again, would highly recommend you play the long and the short game simultaneously. And that's really, truly how you bring in clients on social media. Now, every business is unique. Every single business is unique. I learned about these systems in 2021, actually. So I learned about like the importance of interactive marketing. I also paid for a course in 2022 that I did, or 2021, I had a marketing coach that helped me create my marketing calendar that I still use and teach today. So I've been using these systems for 3 years. And I also I had a way that I was supposed to be talking to people, and I knew how to do it, but I didn't know the value of interactive marketing. No one like, they were like, yeah, you should talk to people online. And I heard like, yeah, you should meet people and talk to them and tell them what you do. Like I'd heard that, but I didn't have a way to track it. And I didn't know how important it was. So I was kind of like, it's like, didn't do it. It was just be like, yeah, it's like, I know it's like kind of important, but I didn't realize how important until I looked at the data. And I just realized I was like, oh, that's why. So again, every business is unique. However, this is what I would recommend, because when we're thinking about structuring your business, now I've taken consistent actions, right? So in 2020, I started my business in the fall. I made 15K. In 2021, I was still part-time. I left my job halfway through the year, and I invested in the marketing coach. I invested in another program that taught me how to interact with people online. It was called Online Coach Accelerator. Doesn't exist anymore, but it was really great. My marketing coach also became a giant social media manager. So of course, like it all ends up working out. But within that, I then in 2022, when I had a little bit more of that consistency, I was actually able to make 120,000 that year because of the consistency that I had on social media for sure. And then I started doing that more interactive marketing. I switched in 2022. I was actually a general career coach. Some of you guys might not know that. I had a program called the Career Fulfillment Initiative. It was general life coaching. And I actually decided to switch from general life coaching to now business. I did 6-figure systems. And even though I was able to switch niches, niche being a specific word for like a community that you help, if you've heard that before, even though I switched completely, it's like people say when you switch niches or like change your niche, it's like starting a new business. Even then, because of these systems, my income didn't drop, it still grew. So like, even though I was completely switching my whole business, my income not only stayed the same, it grew. And this year, y'all, I did my numbers before we got on this call. In all of 2023, I made $156,000. And just this year, I'm at 134. What? Like, that's so awesome. I'm like so delighted and thrilled. I'm like, this is insane and amazing. But it works because I know what works. I also, in 2023, I hired out my first couple people. I knew that the outbound marketing, doing that regular outbound marketing, if I wanted to bring in clients, I need to be really efficient with it. So in the beginning of 2023, I was doing all my marketing for myself until August. And then because I knew that posting was taking the most time, I strategically hired my social media manager. And what I still do is I still write my copy. I still write the words that I write, and I still record my videos and things like that, but she posts it for me. And like I mentioned previously, your girl has ADHD. And so getting onto Instagram for me meant that I would get sucked into the wormhole of the addictive social media. I would literally just be scrolling. I would be like, go to do a post, and I would look up and be like, oh, wait, there's a cute video of cats 2 hours later. I'm like, what is happening? So I was like, this is my first hire. We are getting this off of my plate. Now, in 2023, I signed a bunch of new clients. Things have been incredible. And I also I started two groups. So I have two groups of coaching. I had 17 one-on-one clients at one point, and I was both of my groups are 2 hours each. So I was just like coaching a lot. And I'm like, I still want to do this interactive marketing, but I'm not physically there a lot of the time. And I still want to make sure I know people are talking to me. So within that, I have two VAs. One of my VAs is sending people videos who follow me. And they're saying, and it's a video I made, it's me. And I'm like, hey, thanks for following me. Let me know if you need anything. Very simple. But that first touch point shows people that I care, that I'm actually like interested in them. And even if it's not me physically sending them the link or the message, it still is showing people that I'm actually interested in them. And then my other VA, a lot of times I unfortunately have been because I somehow got on a list, and I'm getting a lot of spam messages right now. Like a lot. I'm not getting like 50 a day. Of it somehow I got linked into this. It's not increasing my followers or doing anything positive. It's literally like creepy spam stuff. If you see some weird stuff on my Facebook, apologies in advance. I don't know how to turn it off. Actively working on it. But I hired another VA to vet my messages so that I actually know who to respond to. So I knew that again in 2023, I was doing all of this myself. And now I have a staff that it can do this for me. So again, just if you are considering growing your team, growing things like that, I had these systems in place. I was ready for them, and we were able to do that. However, the majority of you are solopreneurs. So if you are bringing more clients, this is what I would recommend you spend your time on. Most important, I would spend the majority of your time doing interactive marketing. I would recommend making a system where you know how to manage your leads. Within the managing lead system, I would recommend just spending 30 minutes a day. I'm not saying a lot of time in the morning, creating conversations before you post or after you post. If you do it around the same time, it's quite helpful. And if you just talk with 10 people a day, that's 2,500 conversations a year. Just want you to think about like the level of impact just 30 minutes a day can have. If you are thinking about your business, and let's say you have something that you offer that's $2,000. Again, my business is six-figure system, so I'm always thinking of like, how can I make this work for you guys? And I like to play the numbers. For me, I wanted to make it statistically inevitable for my business to succeed. Many of you guys I've struggled a lot in my business. Lots of things have happened and in my personal life as well. And I became dependent on my income just by myself. And for me, I was like, I have to make it so this absolutely works. So I want you to talk to 10 people a day. And within that, you can talk to 10 people in your audience. You can talk to 10 people outside of your audience. And you can also talk to other businesses. When I mentioned the webinars and things like that before, you can talk to find people who are your subset adjacent. So maybe some people that could use you. So maybe if you are like Patty does essay writing for kids, maybe you could find another tutor who doesn't do essay writing, right? Someone who is your niche adjacent. So someone who just does regular academic tutoring, and you could partner with them, become referral buddies. You guys could do an Instagram live together, 30 minutes on each to explain what you do. That could be a really helpful person to reach out to. And if you look up tutors on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook, any of those places, you could find a ton of people to reach out to. And that can help build your reach and help build your audience and also find people who are actually interested in you. So that's what I would recommend, spending 5 hours. And then the reason why it's 5 hours, not 2.5 hours, is because I like to spend 30 minutes in the evening actually responding to people. So the morning is for creating, the afternoon is for like actually responding. I want to forewarn you, lots of people don't respond. When I first started doing webinars, you guys, I'm just like thrilled in so many ways, just in general. But within my business, I would do webinars and I would message, like, I had 120 people who I'd talk to about coaching. And I'd be like, hey, would you like to come to this webinar? I'm doing this webinar about overcoming burnout. Would you like to come? I would message all 120 of them because I had a system where I had all their names and none of them would respond. For like the first 3 to 4, it was just me and my sweet mom. And it was awesome. And Sue got all of the content. She's actually here tonight. She's incredible. The best mom. She's like so supportive. But things have changed since then, right? A lot has changed. And now I don't have to do as much of the outreach anymore, but now people actually respond if I message them about a webinar. That's something that I want you to keep in mind. Even if people aren't responding, they're still listening. They might be lurking. And people who I messaged like 5 times about joining a webinar, never came, but they converted to clients. So we could only focus on what we can control, putting the effort and energy out there. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, Patty just said financial aid coach trying to find somebody. If anyone knows of a financial aid coach, you guys can start collaborating. That's one of the things that I love about things like this. Now, with marketing, doing the outbound marketing, it's still important. You still want to do it. I'm not saying don't do it. However, one of the things that I do is I batch my content out. It's just so much more simple that way. And it doesn't always work out like that, but usually I do. And what I do is I repurpose my posts. So it's easiest to see it if you look at it on Instagram, but I do one post about one topic and I have like 15 sentences. And then I just take 3 sentences from that long static post, which is just like a regular post. And I take those 3 sentences and I make it the caption for my reel. And then I do the same thing over and over again. And my second post is a big long post for my content consumers that love to read. And then my next one is a video. So it's really only 3 posts that I make a week that I repurpose it into 6 things that are on my feed, which is pretty helpful. And my last post of the week is always a testimonial. So this is what I would offer you. I want you to think about this. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, I would love for you to reach out to 10 people. It's tricky, but that you have people in your audience, unless you have an audience that is less than 10, which is very few of you. If it is, let me know. We can talk about it after we're done. And I want you to just talk to 10 of them. Introduce yourself. Think about it if you were a regular brick and mortar business. I think we forget this as virtual businesses, but I want you to think about if you walked into a store and you're in the store and the person at the counter doesn't greet you. They're like, "Hi, thank you for walking into my store. What would you like to see? Do you want shirts? Do you want cups?" It's like, we've got it all. You want to treat your virtual business the same way. It's not only polite, but it's also helpful, and you're going to get to know your people even better. Maybe they're your person, maybe they're not, maybe they respond, maybe not. But I'm telling you, it will work over time, and we got to play the long game. So, within your business, I did mention here that I would love for you to create a system where you manage leads. I put this, if I were you, I'd put this on your calendar, 30 minutes at least a day. Put it in your calendar so you remember. And then I would also put in time to actually post. As my business has grown, as many of my clients do, they're like, I don't, it's like I haven't gotten to my marketing, or like I'm behind on posts. And I'm like, is it in your calendar? They're like, no, it's not. Please put this in your calendar. It's so much easier to get things done when you write them down. So that would be my offer to you. But if you're like, okay, every single person on this call is highly capable and amazing individuals. You could absolutely figure out a way to market on your own, 100%. And you could also figure out a way to manage leads. And I hope that you do. Like, regardless of whether we work together or not, I genuinely hope that you figure out systems to make it easier for you. I want to make entrepreneurship accessible for all. It's very important to me. I genuinely feel like it's my mission in this life. But if you want to kind of like close the time gap, I would love to be your coach, and I can show you the systems that I put in place to make it work. So when I work with people within my program, Six Figure Systems, I want them to have a very manageable work week. I call it the 8-hour work week. I'm going to be doing a whole presentation in April about it. In May. It's April right now. Brain. I was like, in May, I'm going to be doing a whole presentation about the 8-hour work week, what that would look like, putting it on your calendar. But I want you guys to be able to get all of the back end of your business done in 8 hours or way less a week. And that's what I would like to offer to you. I want you to feel very clear and confident about your marketing. Again, if you're only doing 3 posts and 3 reels, I want you to be like, yes, I know exactly what I'm posting. I don't want you to have any guesswork. That's one of the things that I do with my systems. I also want to give you like an easy lead generation and management protocol. It's something that, instead of just kind of like talking to 10 people a day, I actually have a way that I track it. So if we've talked before on social media, fun fact, I've got notes about you. I was like, I have them in my in a little spreadsheet, because again, I talk with a lot of people a day. And as much as I love and have a wonderful connection with humans on the regular, there are so many people I talk to nowadays, I will forget. If we've had a very in-depth, lovely conversation, a lot of times I just needed something to jog my mind, to be like, oh yeah, we met at this thing doing this. It was great. So I want to make sure that you guys have that as well. I also know I mentioned my conversion rate's pretty high. It's like pretty atypical. Also, with my business growing, it's supposed to dip and it hasn't, which is really cool. I'm like, because I was expecting it to dip, and we're still around 70%, which is so neat. So I would love for you to have higher sales conversion as well. I've got a system that I teach all of my clients where we create a 6-figure offer. I'll be talking with about you guys about that in a second, but you get really high conversion rates when you know how to sell to a specific offer. And you're also going to get one-on-one and community support. So I mentioned that I have amazing clients that I work with all the time. And this is Holly. Holly is the bee's knees. And we've been working together. It's her second round. And she actually fully booked her coaching practice, completely revamped her offer. She's been in the business for a little bit, and she had never made, I think it was over 30,000 with her business. And she just hit the 6-figure mark. So she like in her first round of 6-figure systems. So within the 6 months we worked together, I'm pretty sure she went from 30,000. It was either 30 or 40,000 to 100,000. She also doubled her conversion rate in 3 months into the 6-month program. And she's booked out, I think, until August with her coaching business. Pretty neat. So she's pretty neat. And I would love to teach you what I taught her to make that happen. And the things that I call them the core 4 pillars of a highly successful business are having mastered marketing. I call it the powerful positioning method, but it just makes you stand out in the industry as like the key person. Like if anybody is looking for a coach for executive leaders and who are women of color, Neha's your girl. She's the expert. I know this because she stands out. She's got the powerful positioning method and she stands out in the industry. If you also want to create more sales, of course, we want to create more and convert more. Those are like the 2 big C's of sales. So I want to teach you how to convert more with a sales blueprint. I also want to, of course, teach you how to manage leads. I call it the engagement protocol. And it's literally like it tells you exactly who to talk to, which day, how long, what to say, each response. It's just a lot easier for you to build and nurture your audience. And again, I hope that you create these systems on your own, or you could just use the ones I've been using since 2021. And I also, something that's new this round is I'm making it statistically inevitable for your businesses to succeed as well. So I actually have I'm calling it your 6-figure strategy, and you are going to leave this round. If you decide to do 6-figure systems, you're going to leave this round and we will know exactly what it took for you to create every single client. I'm going to be tracking how many times you're talking with people, how many people you talk to every week. I'm going to be tracking how many times you post. I'm going to be tracking how many consults you get. I'm going to track how much money you've made. And we are going to make it statistically inevitable for your business not to grow. Like I am tracking every single thing. I'm actually meeting with somebody on May 1st to talk about how to utilize another system to get, because right now I'm a systems girl. I actually have no automations. Like if you get an email from me, it's usually from me, unless it's like from my giant email list. Like literally like no automations yet. And you can still make a ton of money. And now I'm ready for the automation side of my business. So that is what I want to offer to you. And if you scan that QR code, feel free to book a consult. And the main things that I would love for you to walk away from 6-figure systems with are having very clear direction, clarity on what you're doing. I never want anyone to be in the same situation I was. And even though I was like working with a bunch of coaches, I wanted somebody to tell me at 8 in the morning, from 8 to 8:30, what do I do? From 8:30 to 9:30, what do I do? And I would love to give that to you with database strategy. So for the people who are on this call, I'm not opening this up to everybody because there would just be a lot of calls. And I'm again trying to manage my calls. However, for you guys, I am opening early enrollment. So the mastermind, the next round of the mastermind starts in June. The actual open cart for everybody, not just you guys, it's going to be the last week in May. But I wanted to give you guys an opportunity. If you wanted to get 2 months of bonus content, I wanted to give you that. So within the mastermind, I actually made it a hybrid. So there is a one-on-one call still. I'm still, at least for this round, maybe in future rounds, this might go away. But for this round, I will meet with you personally, one-on-one, at the beginning, middle, and end of the program. In that first call, we're going to create your 6-figure offer. Middle of the way, we're going to just give you feedback and things like that, figure out your plan for the second 3 months of the program. And then at the end of the program, decide your next steps, whether it's to continue with me, which would be awesome, or figure out something else if you never have to re-enroll with me if you don't want. There's also weekly Q&A. So there's going to be coaching every single week to help you reach your goals. I used to be a teacher, so I love teaching people live. I'm still doing the live curriculum. Again, this might be changing as the mastermind goes on, but currently I'm still going to teach live. So I would teach you every single module live. You don't have to spend any time outside of the calls. That would all be happening on the call. There is a Facebook group, a Google Classroom that I have where within the Google Classroom, you have 24/7 messaging within the group. Within the group, it's actually going to be 2 hours. So the group in the June round, it's going to start June 4th and it's going to be, which is Tuesday. I'm pretty sure it's June 4th. The group is going to go from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern. And the first hour for the first 3 months of the program is me teaching you. The second half is coaching. And then after those 3 months, after you get all the 6-figure systems, Then we just do 2 hours of open coaching. Last but not least, the collaborative effort. What Patty was mentioning in the chat earlier, saying like, hey, does anybody know a person for this? Does somebody have a person for that? I want to make the community like that. You guys can do testimonial swaps where you coach each other or like talk with each other for a little bit, 30 minutes each, and you guys start providing testimonials. All of that is what could be happening in the program. So for early enrollment, the benefits of doing this instead of waiting till the end of May, which totally up to you, whatever you would like to do. But the second that you enroll, you could actually get your one-on-one call right away. So I'm going to help you create your 6-figure offer as soon as this week. And we could literally like make your complete offer, get you ready already. So that was what would be happening. You also would already get, it is not necessarily 2 months, it's like 1 month of extra virtual support. So you can message me any questions you have. I have a whole module about how to ask for feedback, but you can go ahead and start doing that now and just have my brain in your business for an extra month of the program. You can also collaborate earlier, which would be helpful. And I also have welcome modules talking about how to organize your Google Drive. You can see here, I have a progress tracker. So I guarantee that your business will grow in marketing, sales, managing leads, and planning for sure. Like I know that that will happen within the program. And I literally like statistically, I'm like, no one has ever regressed from working with me. No one has ever gotten worse. I know that they would. And it makes me feel very confident when I work with you. So you would also get access to the modules. You would learn how to set up your Google Drive to make it look like my Google Drive. You would also be able to learn how I do self-coaching, making sure that I actually stay really focused on my business every day. And you would also get a module about your offer. Plus, I would have a bonus for your annual plan, which is exciting. And so within the annual plan, I know many of you guys might be thinking about like, okay, what am I going to do for this year? Like, how do I actually plan out my year to make this work? And within that, we have annual plan webinar. It's going to be your bonus. And Armony is actually in her second round. She decided to do another round of 6-figure systems. She posts 6 hours a week and only takes her about 1 to 2 hours a week. Completely restructured her offer, and she actually signed 3 clients before the last round. So the program is 6 months, and I like to say it's like simple scaling. I actually have clients, one of my clients used these exact same systems and has made over $700,000. There's also clients who I have that are fresh out of certification or fresh into starting their businesses. These systems work for everybody and are scalable for your first 6 and multiple 6 figures. So thanks, friends. This has been amazing. I have time to answer any and all questions that you have. Please, if you would like to ask a question, you can either put it in the chat, raise your hand, unmute, or if you feel like you want to keep it private, feel free to email it to me as well. Chanda, anytime. It was nice to have you. Nice to meet you. Any questions? Like, seriously, ask anything that you want. I am at your disposal.
I have a question.
Yes, Patty, hello.
Hi. So, who are these people that you want me to have conversations with tomorrow? Like, who exactly are they?
Great question. I would go and first look at your current audience, meaning go to your followers and message them. Be like, hey, I'm Patty. This is what I do. Do you have any kids that are in school? I would love to tell me about your kids. There are 2 types of questions that you can ask: open questions and closed questions. Open questions are open-ended, like, why did you find me? How did you find me? Or how did you find me simpler? That's a closed question. But like, what struggles does your child have? Those are typically more difficult for somebody to answer right away, right? So it's like they requires them to think. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm already doing all this stuff. I like to initially start my conversations personally with closed questions. Meaning, do you have a child? Are they in school? How did you find me? How many years have you had your business? Tell me, do you have anything. Like, you know what I mean? Making it very simple, very easy for them to answer so that then the conversation can continue. From there, we'll see if they respond. Hopefully they will. And if they do, we always want to finish every response with a question, being like, tell me more. It's like, what about this? If they say they do, because you personally have a business where you coach children, you want to be like, if you start with a closed question, do you have a child that's in school right now? Okay, what grade are they in? Making sure that you have a lot of small talk and conversation before you actually offer them an opt-in. I found that people, this is like very in depth, but there are these things called touch points, right? So a touch point, which sounds kind of creepy, but again, these are like marketing terms. They're not my terms. I promise I would never name something a touch point because that sounds creepy. But within it, you want to create as many touch points as possible, aka just interactions with you as possible. So you can go, they call them like, again, creepy, soft to hard touch. It's like, again, weird. But I think the biggest misconception I've seen people do is I think that people think when I say make connections with people, go hard touch, full send. Hi, buy my stuff. Hi, buy my stuff. Hi, buy my stuff. Hi, buy my stuff. No, that is not what I'm saying. We want to actually build relationships with people and nurture them before we ever make an offer. I have said, I talk to people all the time, and there are two in the history of my business that I've ever offered hard touch, do a consult. The majority are what I call soft and medium touches. The majority I'm like, yeah, soft and medium touches. Sound again creepy, but works. So within the soft touches, you're just getting to know them, getting to learn a little bit more about them. And within the medium touches, that's more like directed conversations. So for me, if I was doing a medium touch point, I would go and be like, hey, like I know that you mentioned that you're trying to grow, you're trying to get 2 clients this week. What kind of things have you done for marketing? I'm actually making my marketing content for May, and I want to know what kind of things you need some help with. Or, and then when they respond, giving them value and be like, hey, I thought of you. I know that you're trying to out content batching. I made this whole, I explained content batching in this post. Do you want me to send it your way? Question. Sure. They send it to you. It's like, here, let me know how this works. Do you have time for content batching this week? Question. Do you see how I'm like every single time? It's just continuing the conversation, building a relationship. Might never work with you, but they still have a really positive interaction. So again, if we're kind of thinking about the same kind of philosophy, your goal is to get as many humans as possible talking to you as much as possible. And if the stats say 17 times for them to see your offer, my goal would be to talk to as many people as possible and get them to interact with you around 17 times to, again, make the statistics inevitable that your business takes off with them.
Mhm. Thank you. That's very helpful. I think my challenge will be for tomorrow coming up with 10 people because most of my audience is kind of in my network. I kind of know them personally. So I would like to get some people in my network who I do not know personally, who are just like, who I've solicited through marketing, who I've pulled into my orbit through good marketing. And then I will get those kinds of conversations going.
Yes. And what I would do is I would, like I mentioned previously, tutors. Like I would reach out to some people that are niche adjacent.
Mhm.
So I would like think about like, then you can go outside of your niche and have something in your back pocket. Like if you look, I can go scroll all the way back. I used to do Instagram live collaborations, and you still can. And you can also, I think, go live on LinkedIn as well. And you could be like, hey, I know you do this. I do this. Do you want to go live 30 minutes, talk about what we do on each other's platform? And then that also counts as one of your 10 because you're expanding your reach. So
Okay.
that's a,
That's great advice. Thank you so much.
of course, of course. Kayla, literally anytime. So glad to have you.
Megan, can I ask you a question?
Of course. Hey, Lindsay.
Hi. Can you talk a little bit about when you transitioned from, well, first I want to just acknowledge you for this. This has been so awesome and I love learning from you and it's just so fun to like This is so helpful and informative, and I just love seeing you thrive and all the things you're doing. So can you talk about when you went from career fulfillment initiative to six-figure systems? Like, what was sort of your idea behind that? Like, what was that transition like for you?
Oh my gosh, yes. I've got a lot to say about this. So what happened is at the time, this was 2022, in the spring of 2022, and I was doing general career coaching. It was awesome. And I had 18 clients. 11 of them were thinking of starting a business. And meanwhile, I had just joined a larger business coaching program called 200K, and it's from a woman named Stacey Bayman. If you guys don't know of her, it's for life coaches specifically. And within that program, I found that a lot of the things that I knew how to do, like the marketing calendar and like outreach, like the way that I was describing it, they didn't know about. And I'm like, oh, y'all, like you need to do this. And so I started talking with them a lot. And in the spring, I was seriously considering starting my first group, starting to talk more about business. And then your girl was dumped. It's like hard dumped. My whole life took a lot of spins. I actually thought about quitting my business entirely. That was when I was financially dependent on myself, moved back in with mom and dad. Truly appreciate them. And I just kind of like my business took a bit of a flat line. Then I decided to keep going. In August, I decided to actually make my curriculum. I created the whole curriculum for a business coaching program. I actually called it the Business Fulfillment Initiative at the beginning because my career program was called the Career Fulfillment Initiative. So I was like, yeah, this works. And I just had so much conviction that these systems could help people that even though I didn't articulate it well, I was like, this can still help somebody. So I spent the month of August making the program, the month of September actually marketing myself as a business coach, and I hard launched in October and signed my first round of people. And even though I didn't really know what I was doing, I actually signed 9 clients, which was insane. I was like craziness. And then I transitioned to make it six-figure systems in the second launch in spring of last year. But yeah, it was great. That's a good question. So how did I decide to do it? It was just by calling. I really did feel like I was so, when I started the Career Fulfillment Initiative, I really felt passionate that I wanted to help people with their contributions. And I feel like a lot of times, like the zones of genius that we have, the things that are actually like drawing us in that we're really passionate about, don't fit the mold of a typical job. And I want more people to consider entrepreneurship as something that's accessible, something that where you don't feel like you have to work all the time or take a severe pay cut. Like I know 20% of solopreneurs actually made 6 figures last year, according to what the IRS recorded, and only 14% said that they work less than 40 hours. So like 86% of people are saying they're working more than 40 hours. And I knew I wasn't, and I wanted to make it more accessible to other people. So that's why I decided to switch. And it just like, I was like, every coaching call that I had with a business owner, I was like, just enthralled. I was like, this is the best. Let's talk about marketing. Let's talk about this. It was just like excited. And then when I was talking with other people about getting promotions and raises, as it used to be really exciting. Like I got people like 40K promotions, like ridiculous. It was so cool, but it just didn't light me up like the business stuff did. So that's why I switched. That was a really long answer. But yeah,
Great to hear. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
of course. Oh my gosh, yeah, you're the best. I love you. Thank you.
Hey, Megan, I have a question for you. Hi,
Of course.
Kim. I don't think we've
Hi,
met
Kim. We
before.
haven't met. It's so nice
Yeah.
to meet you.
too. I'm in 2K, so I think I know a couple of you guys from that world.
Welcome.
Okay, so here's my deal. It sounds like, and what I've learned I've been a coach since 2020, October 2020. Listening to your stuff, it's like, okay, the system sounds amazing, and it's almost like you have to know who your niche is. I think I've been trying to work this backwards. I think that's why I found a lot of frustration with all these coaches and all this money I spent. It's like I'm trying to learn these systems and like I haven't really like identified who I'm talking to. And so who I'm talking to constantly changes.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's extremely painful.
I'm just have so much sympathy. I'm like, my heart goes out to you, and I've got a solution. And
Yeah.
even if you want to say general, I have an idea for you. But I wanted to let you finish your question. But I just wanted to offer my love
Yeah,
to
and
you.
like I listened to you talking, I'm like, I'm just not as peoply as she is. Like I'm more introverted, and I'm like, let's see, the word that usually is described me, people say is like you're very intense. Like I'm just like a focus, like I don't want to sit around and talk about all your like your
Small
life
talk.
and your clothes, like right, like I'm focused, like let's go,
Yes.
right. And so it's like thinking about being on social media and like, oh my gosh, yeah.
We're like, okay, so even I totally get that. So I'm actually like an extroverted introvert. After all my coaching calls, I literally like lay on the floor and I'm just like, moment of solitude. My friends call it turtle time. I'm like, I need the recharging of this to function. So I totally get that. Again, I don't know if you heard at the beginning, I would have literally gotten rid of social media if I didn't have a business.
Yeah,
But if you are a life coach, I am guessing that you have had your life changed by your coaching in some
for
capacity,
sure, for sure. Yeah.
right? And so for me, I felt so compelled. Like, this is like a deeper part of my life story, but I actually started getting coached in 2018 before I started my business.
Mhm.
Totally changed my life. Like, I completely changed all my relationships. I ran a freaking marathon, even though I hate running. And I did national boards, I wrote 300 pages, and I hate writing for teaching. And I felt so, I was like, everybody needs this. I was like coaching my friends like for fun and stuff like that. And so what I found is that I was like, and just some statistics in general. I know this because I'm a life coach. All entrepreneurs are incredible, but coaching specifically, like, it changes lives. Like, there's actual empirical data that Sunny Smith did, who's another coach, and literally, like, people don't, they move from baseline after they get coached and they literally don't go back. So they are more confident for life. They are more, they know how to manage their stress for life. Like, it's like their whole life has changed because of coaching. So for me, when I knew that and I felt that compelled with my mission, I'm like, I am willing to do the small talk if that's what it takes. Like, I was like, when I was thinking about reaching out to businesses and companies and things like that, I reached out to over 100. And I was like, will you let me do a presentation? Will you let me do a presentation? Hi, I'm Megan. Will you let me do a presentation? I was willing to just like put myself out there all the time to just be like, even, and I became desensitized to the, not rejection, that's not the right word, but kind of, because it was just that nobody would respond. So it was kind of almost like abandonment, like two core
Yeah.
fears. And it was almost like exposure therapy, where I was like, I'm just like willing to do this for as long as it takes, not making it mean anything about me because this mission's bigger. So even as a generalist, like, I would just think about, for you, getting in front of people in places that you already have connections with. So for me, I got in front of, I went to NC State. It's a college here in Raleigh, North Carolina. So I reached out to them and I was like, hey, can I do a presentation in front of your people? Used to teach yoga, like I mentioned, for Shonda at Core Power. So I actually like, and I would go to Core Power and be like, oh my gosh, maybe we know each other. These people are already investing in their physical well-being. Maybe they would be willing to invest in their mental and emotional well-being. This could be cool. I also went to I places where I live. So there's this group called Offline, and it's like a restaurant club. So I like went there and I was like, maybe there are people here that like they want to have better experiences. Maybe they could use a general life coach. I also joined women networking groups. So there's like Raleigh Women in Marketing. And I was like, great, I'll join these people. And I was just willing to make as many connections as possible in order to find my humans. And I was like, those of you guys that know me, I mean, like, you see, I'm a little intense. I'm actually a type 3. And so I don't love the small talk either. I'm like, I would love to just be like, tell me about your passion. What is your purpose in life? Like, let's go, let's make it happen. But I know that it can be off-putting for some, and I want to be applicable to many. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think I have done a lot of that stuff. And I think the feedback, because I make it too complicated. Like I love neuroscience, right? And I do biohacking with my coach program. Like I test neurotransmitters and hormones, and I like how the human brain works, right? Because I'm optimizing potential. But then I think it just like goes straight over everybody's head, and they're like, okay, great. What, I don't know what result I'm getting, but you sure do sound very smart.
Oh my God. Okay. So this is exactly what I did. So I was Megan Wing coaching at the beginning of my business, and coming back to your 6-figure offer, this is exactly what I did. So I was just like talking about random stuff all the time. And I did this all. If you want, I'll send you guys, if you go on my website, there's a webinar I did called Love Your Offer. And within creating a 6-figure offer, I realized that I needed to like brand myself as a generalist. And again, it was career technically, but I was like, what do I help people with? And I'm like, so when you're thinking about the neurotransmitters and tracking that stuff, here's where the 5, I call them pillars, that I knew I did as a generalist. I knew I helped people overcome burnout. I
Mhm.
knew I helped people manage their time. I knew I helped people generate confidence. I knew I helped people create work-life balance. And I helped people develop a 10-year plan or a future plan. So what I did is I took that, right? Those were just topics, but they were things that people were Googling, things that people were searching. So for you, I would consider, why do they need to understand their neurotransmitters in the way that you say? Are they stressed? Are they feeling insecure? That's what you speak to. And then you start the conversations there. You get really good marketing, and then you can articulate it, and you can be like, you become more confident by the neurotransmitter mapping system I have. And then
Mhm.
when they're investing in coaching, they're not investing in you as a human. They weren't investing in me, Megan Wing, even though they liked me and I was smiley. They were investing in the career fulfillment initiative. They were investing in the stress reset program. They were that's what I did for burnout. They were investing in the Monday Hour one was the calendaring system I used, but I would rebrand that and be like the calendaring system. Like, I made it palatable for the average bear, so that then they felt compelled to buy from me, and like that they were investing in something that was more than just like, because coaching is similar to therapy, but it is very different, and I think they get lumped a lot of the times. So when you can articulate your messaging in a way that they're like, oh, this is why I sign up to work with you, I think it makes it a lot easier.
So you had like curriculum for each one of those.
But it was literally like, for me, burnout was the unintentional model. If you're familiar with
Yeah,
Stacey
yeah,
and Tuesday. So
yeah, yeah.
for anyone who is not a coach or anything like that, I just spoke German. So for the model is just a way that you can coach yourself and figure out the subliminal and subconscious thoughts you're having that are blocking you. So I had to come up with a way that people would be like, I'd be like, I'm going to help you overcome burnout with the model. And people are like, what? What does she
Yes.
mean? And so I had to come up with the stress reset. It was just coaching. And for me, things like the intentional model, I was like, oh, that's generating confidence. And I was
Okay.
like, for work-life balance, I had the boundary protocol.
Okay, that's really helpful. Thank you for that. And then I
Literally anytime.
ask, do you discuss pricing of your mastermind here, or do you discuss?
Oh yeah, it's 5K. Yeah, it's 5K for if you want to pay in full, and you get all the modules at once. And I also trickle them out. Or it's 850 every month for the 6 months.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, I usually have a slide about that. Yeah, for sure. That's important to know.
No, I'm used to coaches. Some people like lock it down and you have to like
Yeah,
know
you
the
know, like,
password to get the prize, or some
yes.
people are like it's all over the
For
place.
me,
So,
I also know that like people are like trying, especially like for something like this, it's like you're usually budgeting, you know how much your credit card, if you need to like increase your limit or things like that. If any of you guys are like, hey, I came to the webinar, like I will let you enroll early. That is no problem for me,
okay, thank you.
even if it's like later. Anytime. Such good questions. Oh my gosh, Marla. I was like, there is a long message from you here. I see you. did she roll? I think she might have rolled. Okay, well, Marla. Oh, she said that she feels encouraged. And she already has a tracking system, which is so awesome. Oh, I love this. Oh my goodness, Marla. I am so proud of you. And yes, incredible. Also, Lindsay, another 3. I was like, I love it. I was like all the time. It's Enneagram. I don't know how much I follow all this stuff, but I'm definitely like, I definitely am a bit of a achiever. I'm like, oh, I always want the next thing. So I definitely feel you guys. Are there any other questions? It's good to see you. I didn't know that I like saw you and I forgot that you joined. So I'm glad to have you. Claire, it's great to have you as well. Well, that was awesome, guys. Thank you so, so much for taking this evening to be with me. I'm so honored to spend this time. Truly, if you guys have any questions at all, please reach out to me. I actually, as you guys now know, my VA will vet it and then I will respond. Because I'm getting all the messages from all the humans and it's great. And I will respond to you guys. So thank you. I am so appreciative. I will post the replay, send you guys the link if you want to enroll as well. If you want to do a little bit of that, I will send that to you too. And I will be seeing you guys very soon. Oh, and if you are part of the Six Figure Systems Facebook group, I will make sure I include that in the replay link. I'm doing a live coaching call next Monday at 2 p.m. So if you want to get coached by me live, ask any questions, it'll be similar to this, but a little bit more mindset work. If needed, I am doing that and I will include the link to join there as well. So all the things, sending you guys all the love. Have a wonderful week and I will see you soon. Bye, everybody.